give her a couple warm-up pulls here. Meh.
They're right there. They're right there. Dude. Oh my god. Everything was perfect. I got over him tonight. Do you still see him? Yeah. Is there any sense in even trying to call at him? Oh my god. Is he still standing there or what? Yeah. Just looking around. Oh my god. That's the deer we saw this morning. That split 2 buck came out with that doe, and he pushed the split 2 buck off, ran him off a little bit, and then disappeared again with that doe. And then about, I don't know, half an hour later, he came back out right where he'd pushed that split 2 buck out at. And I don't know, probably closer to 45 minutes to an hour, was out here with that doe, which we didn't even see to begin with. She must have just been behind some of this cover and we just couldn't see her. It kind of looked like he was by himself at first. We're wondering what was going on, but... And, I ranged some trails in front of me. There's one at 35, there's one at 40. If they came across this way. And after a long, drawn-out standoff with this doe here, she got sketchy. She smelled her wind. She was kind of acting like she was going to cut into this timber right here, take him right past us, right in front of us. She turned and she got on the trail that I had ranged at 40 yards. And he was probably 40 yards, at least from her, away. And as she's walking away, I'm trying to figure out what trail she's going to go on. Is she going to hit this 35-yard trail or the 40-yard trail? And whatever one she hits, I'm going to have to adjust for her. So eventually, she goes behind the 40-yard trail, so I'm thinking he's going to go there. But he cut the edge off the the edge of this grass here, and I was juggling between looking at him and adjusting for yardage. I looked up and checked one last time as I was dialing down, and he was at the 40 yards, so I set the pin, drew back on him, felt really good, stopped him, and for a split second there, when I drew back, I was low on him. And so as I was coming up, I'm assuming I just was applying. I mean, it's so hard to recall from that time. It's like you almost black out a little bit. Just don't quite remember, fully all of what happened, but I've just been applying a little too much pressure. And as I was coming up, the shot broke, and it went over the top of his back. So it's completely my fault, but I guess that's the nature of it. Sometimes that happens. It happens to everyone that bow hunts long enough, especially, or gun hunts for that matter. Everyone misses deer. Sometimes it's situations like this where you have this crazy drawn out deal play out in front of you where it just could not get any more perfect. Unless you would have been closer to the tree, that's the only thing that would have made it any better. And doe drags him right past the stand. It's the biggest deer we've seen by far. And I'm not convinced that wasn't the deer that we saw the other day. Just the tines and how tall he was and how big I thought that one deer was that I'd seen. And he was with a doe then. He's with a doe now. It's been a couple days since then, but anyhow, he just came by and I saw the arrow go over the top of his back, and immediately my heart just sank. And I guess it really just comes down to keeping your composure, I guess. I didn't anticipate really the shot to go off, and it must have just been applying too much pressure to the trigger as I was settling my pin. But luckily it's the time of year where crazy things happen. The unexpected is almost the expected, so there's no telling what could happen the rest of the day. Sometimes it's just not meant to be. Potentially, depending on the wind direction, later, they kind of moved off to this corner, and they weren't, spooked, crazy spooked. They obviously knew something had happened. They didn't like it, and she wasn't even very comfortable when she was standing here. She was kind of moving through stiff-legged. Potentially could move to that same draw that they were in and see if we can catch them coming back, through tonight, or I don't know. It's hard to say, but that's it, guys. Nothing to hide. It's just, we're gonna show it to you exactly how it happened, and unfortunately today, that is how that story is gonna play out, at least for now. So that's it. ways and say back farther.
Yeah, I just don't want your wind to go that way if they circle, you know what I mean? The more you hug this edge, the better your wind's gonna be.
We saw that buck again with that same doe, and they moved down to this little draw. We saw him from the tree stand. They moved down this little draw. It's not very big, and obviously there's potential they could have went out the backside, but I think it's getting pretty late. It's 10:30. You would think that they're about to get ready to bed down. And with the wind the way it is, this draw would be a perfect spot for them to bed. And potentially come out and feed in here. And she was out here in this draw feeding. So she's obviously not scared to come back out here again. I mean, in that shot, they didn't know what it was. And she came back out here on her own and was feeding, so they feel comfortable enough to do that. There's no reason why they wouldn't feel comfortable enough to do that this afternoon. So we're gonna hang tight on the ground. Looking back, this morning, there's just, what are you gonna do? There's a lot that goes on between, just time is one thing, and knowing what's at stake, and maybe not even at stake, but what's to gain. That'd be a huge deal for us. Shoot that deer. A state we've never been to. My first out-of-state deer. And when you have a lot of time, thoughts start to creep in your head like that. And who knows if that contributes to mistakes happen sometimes, but there's just a lot going on. I gotta stop talking. But I just kind of want to give you guys a little insight on what's kind of going on in my head over the last, hour and a half. It's been just like this, just a roller coaster. I texted my girlfriend, I'm like, Morgan, I just missed probably the biggest deer I'd ever shot at in my life, in a state I've never been. And I texted her because I knew that she would comfort me. She was like, she's like, it's okay, keep your head up. I'm sure you'll end up getting him or something like that. And there's a couple of people I was gonna text, but I was like, God, I don't know what their response is gonna be. So I chose not to text them. But I don't know, when you're down like that, you kind of need someone to pat you on the back and say, hey buddy, it's okay. So thank you, Morgan. I appreciate that. I feel a little bit better. But anyway, I'm gonna get set up and just hang tight and see what happens. If they come out, they come out. Chase is behind me. He can see a ways to my left. So I'm gonna try to cover the right as best as I can. And we got a heavy deer trail coming out of here, headed into the timber where Chase is at. So very possible they could come cruising down that, or she could, and he'll be in tow. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna grab